Are you stuck? What about unhappy? Join Alena Chapman, author, mentor, and life coach for 30-minute moments as she challenges you to get out of the doldrum and start living your life to the fullest. It's time to celebrate that life with 30-minute moments.
Welcome to 30-Minute Moments. I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and as you know, this show is all about the ease and betterment in your life. You know, as I was driving in, and I always have these thoughts, so I bring them to you. You know, I started to get this wonderful idea. I mean, I love this idea. And I'm so excited because now I'm starting to cultivate it. And I'm giving birth to this incredible idea that I can bring to all of you. Okay, so that being said, I started to think to myself, my gosh, this is such an awesome gift to be able to do this, to come up with these cool ideas and just give birth to them. And how many people don't even understand what I mean or don't get that often? So I looked up this quote. Now, this quote, for heaven's sakes, is used in the wrong way, mostly to talk about the negative side. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring out the good side, which I think Eleanor Roosevelt wanted us to do. And she is the author of this quote. And here it goes. And I know you've heard this. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. Now, I started contemplating this. Number one, discussing people, sure, I do. There's so many people I admire. There's so many people I learn from. I do talk about that sometimes. And then discussing events. Yeah, if there's an event I want to go to, I'll talk about that. But where I love to be and where I spend as much time in as I possibly can is in the idea, the being of creating, the being of bringing forth incredible ideas, to just contemplate the what if of the world. I love that. Now, does that mean I have great minds? Well, sure, I'll take that compliment. But I don't do it for that. I'm bringing this forward to you because where do you reside and where do you want to reside in that wonderful quote? Do you want to be in that idea creative? Then take time because it's cultivated. Take time to think of ideas. Just ask yourself, what if? What if this could be? And allow your mind to take hold and start going with ideas, and maybe the people you talk to, make it more idea-centered. I swear your life will take a total turnaround. Things will start to change. So that is my little nugget for today. I hope you like it. And now I want to talk to you about a very important thing. You know, this father-daughter relationship. So all the fathers out there and all the daughters out there, we have a show for you. Now, Sade is an author, speaker, coach, and international philanthropist. I love that word. It kind of rolls. She graduated from Columbia University. I told her I'm so happy about that because that's where my event this fall, The Inevitable You, is being held. And she earned her master's in public health from Tulane University. Oh, I love this. She interviewed hundreds of women ages 18 to 75 and found an absolute difference between the girls who grew up with and the girls who grew up without their fathers. That's interesting, isn't that? She gained a profound understanding of the different ways women are wounded by their fathers and then go on to live as if those wounds are the truth. Interesting. Sade wrote a book called In Search of My Father. Oh, I like that title. And it's about healing her relationship with her father and set her free to experience healthy love. Very interesting. All right, Sade, I am so ready for this one. I love this topic, and it's a very important topic because we do have that relationship with our fathers, and it does kind of guide our way in our life, not only with who we pick in our life, but how we deal with that whole genre of the male species. Do you agree?
Absolutely. This original dynamic set by Dad will replay again and again with romantic partners until we're ready to see it for what it is. It's just the only story that we've known how to tell about love. So when we're ready to reckon with that, we can write ourselves a new story.
It is true, because it's a lesson, isn't it? It's a lesson.
Right.
Yeah, and everything is a lesson. And if you don't learn the lesson, then the universe says, you got to redo it.
Right?
You know?
So until we're ready to look at the ways that we've been replaying our childhoods, many of us and many of my clients will confuse familiarity with love.
It's true. So I have another question. And I've gone through my own things with my dad. And I love my dad. And he taught me so many incredible things, tools that I've used in my whole life. In fact, I use a lot of that. And I also love that he was a self-made man. I'm using myself as an example. I often do that. So but I had to learn that the man he was, that almost very highly intelligent, self-made man, was not always very approachable. It wasn't the things that he said so much as that feeling that I had to learn was not what I wanted in my relationships, but yet I had been getting. Isn't that interesting?
That's what the science says, yes.
Yeah. Well, so when a woman is having all these relationships that are not turning out, how can she start to look at it and say, okay, what's going on here? Why is this happening? Why are all my relationships ending up like this or that?
Right. So if we notice that we're in a pattern, the last three relationships were very similar, then it's time to take full responsibility, right? We're the common denominator.
We are the common denominator always, yes.
Right. Especially if we're looking at our dating history and seeing a series of disasters, it's time to get clear about that, about our responsibility in this piece. So a lot of dating coaches and advice out there seems to focus externally and coach women on scanning the person across the dinner date table from us to look for red flags in men.
Yes.
I ask women to do the exact opposite and really get clear on themselves. Are you coaching, teaching, saving, helping men? Are you...
Yes.
Are you playing small and changing yourself, asking, what do I have to do? Who do I have to be in order to be lovable?
That's big. Oh, you cannot escape from that one. All right. So we do that.
Dating immature people, or are we falling in love with potential and trying to mother our partners to greatness? It's time to,
which is not our job. Yeah.
Not our job.
Wow.
So we can ask some of these questions about to ourselves. How are we showing up in patterned behavior in our relationship? We can ask a friend to hold us accountable. We can go get therapy on the subject. There's lots of work to be done here, but I think the most powerful exercise that I ask my clients to do is finding their father wound impact. So it the journal prompt becomes, because my dad blank, and then we put in the overarching theme phrase of impact, because my father abandoned our family, because my father was emotionally unavailable. Put that in there.
A lot of that. Yeah.
A lot of that.
I think it was also part of the time, because when I grew up, I was a baby boomer baby. And so a lot of those, my parents, it was, if you ever watch that show, Mad Men, it describes the life that my parents had. My mom was home. My dad was out working all the time. You hardly ever saw him. And when he did come home, it was wonderful. But he was working. He was a self-made man. He was in that corporation, that business, making money. So we did get that feeling. And when he did come home, he didn't always know what was going on. He didn't know the dynamic of the family because he wasn't there very much. So I think that's why we have so many women who are not sure about love or are having a very difficult time finding that person in their life. And it's really interesting when you have lived with that detachment, say, then you don't necessarily know what you're looking for something different. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
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 So how do you get, how would a woman, just say, if someone's out there, I've done this work, but how would what would you say to a woman who is looking and saying, okay, I know this, but I really don't know what I am looking for?
Oh, I love that question. I think it comes from a place of wondering if good and healthy love is even possible. I hear a lot of women say that, where have all the good men gone? They must be unicorns now.
I hate that. Unicorns. I'll take a unicorn to bed. That's going to work well. Oh, gosh, that's funny. So I think it's really interesting that I love that this comment is, I love this question. Well, what we have to do is we have to go to a break, and I hate to do the break right now, but be right back because we're going to explore this a little bit. This is 30-Minute Moments. I'm your host, Alena Chapman. Be right back.
You're listening to 30-Minute Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you discover your true purpose on WOWO and at WOWO.com.
Welcome back to 30-Minute Moments for Ease and Betterment. And this one's a big one, So Sade, I understand. My dad was wonderful, but he a little detached in a lot of areas. So I know that, but I still see this very strong, I'm using myself as an example again. I see this strong man who was self-made, who was never beaten by the odds, who was just terrific in so many ways, but I never really could get so close, or I was always trying to win approval, or I was always feeling dissatisfied. I'm putting different scenarios in there. But so where do I go now that I know this? I have this new form clarity, but I don't know any different.
Yeah. So when we're feeling like great men might be unicorns to us, or that emotional availability might be something foreign. Maybe we're calling in that feels impossible.
Fantasiful, yeah.
Yeah, I encourage women to look for expanders. Expanders are people who expand our vision for what's possible. And so we have this wonderful tool called the World Wide Web. We can move around on social media and Instagram and literally look for people who expand our vision for what's possible. Men who write poetry exist. Something that you could dream up of desiring in a partner is findable.
It is findable.
So, yeah, I encourage my clients to do that and to start actually writing down what it is that you want in a partner. One of the really fun ways to do that is to write yourself a love letter, the most incredible love letter you've ever received.
Oh, I like
from
that.
the vantage point of a partner. And you'll reveal to yourself what you want to be seen and appreciated for, what what qualities you want your partner to uphold.
I really like that. Yeah. If you are writing to yourself, everything comes out, and it's not the superficial. I see so many people make lists, and it's like, I want blue eyes, I want him to love my kids, and it's all good stuff, but it's not. Those are just, yeah, that'll happen. Well, blue eyes, does that really matter? But you know what I'm saying? What's the real stuff? And if you write that love letter, then all of a sudden the stuff that's going to come out is the stuff like, oh, look at how supportive he is. Look at how he really adores and loves me. And look at how fun this letter is. All the things that really matter to you, that offer a sustaining kind of relationship will come forward. That's an excellent exercise.
You're on to me, Alena. There it is.
Well, because women really do know. I do know that when you start opening your eyes in that way, all of a sudden, and you've got to don't you feel that they kind of have to heal a little bit? It's years. Sade, it's years. It's not just the dads we grew up. Look at the fairy tales. I mean, Cinderella doesn't know that prince when she decides she's going to go off to the castle and live. Snow White, she had an eternal, we don't even know the guy. Who is this guy who comes and kisses her? Who is he? And he's like a cardboard figure. You know what I mean? And they live happily ever after, but why? Do you see where I'm getting?
Oh, yeah.
Men weren't real. They were just, yeah.
Yeah, cardboard cutouts. Yes, I've laughed about Cinderella many times. She doesn't pull Prince Charming aside and say, actually, I need a little time to go to therapy and recover from my father's sudden death.
And my stepmother's trying to kill me.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, my
gosh.
gosh.
No context for this, that there needs to be some preparation for love. Many of us are still longing to be rescued on some level. That love will come along and make everything okay and wipe out the pain of the past, erase the shame, and make it all worthwhile. But any woman who said, I do, will tell you there is plenty of work still on the other side of the altar.
You really, really, really do have to be complete in yourself. You have to, the best thing you can do for your mate, or the person, or your future mate, or even the person that you're just going to date, is to really do the work on yourself, to heal whatever needs to be healed, to become whole. Then you have a whole person to give that person that you love. Don't you agree?
Agreed. Big agree.
Yeah, we want to rescue, like this white knight that's going to come in. You know, Sade, I think, is there any way that we could get fairy tales and women to see and little girls to see that men are just people? Kind of a funny concept, isn't it?
It is. I think, we're really coming around full circle to the topic of my master class and my next book, How to Stop Falling in Love with Potential. I think many of us are doing that in large part because of fairy tale and fantasy and the desire to be rescued. So how do we allow men to be human? I think in part is when we start embracing our own humanity.
Yes. Our own vulnerability even.
Right.
Right.
And exactly. And these desires, I think it isn't wrong to desire partnership. It isn't wrong to desire connection. I think there are a lot of women, especially women with father wounds, who are afraid of re-engaging after being burnt.
That's true, too. Yeah, there are a lot of women who are so damaged by their relationship with their father, or not even their birth father. Sometimes it's another male figure that they somehow in their psychology put in as a father. And when they're damaged by that trust, it's trust that just is blown sky high, and self-esteem goes right out the window. There's a lot of issues that are, I think, for men who are in that father figure role, I don't think they understand how much they are forming either a well-rounded, beautiful human being who's full of potential, or they're destroying a life. Really. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I could have one message, it would be that. I pray that fathers would know how powerful and impactful they truly are. Fathers impact the way women grow up to see men, money, and themselves.
And for boys, those boys grow up to be like their fathers. I mean, it's a very important role. We will be right back with my favorite part. And let's see how Sade's aha moment brought her to where she is.
This is 30-Minute Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your inner self every Sunday on WOWO and at WOWO.com.
It is time. The shift. So here we are. Aha moments. Aha moments are the creation of the world. So with that, Sade, what is your story?
Well, I've always been a researcher at heart. At 19 years old, I was a freshman on Columbia's campus, and I noticed all of my brilliant, beautiful, amazing, talented friends were all dating jerks. And I thought, this can't be a coincidence. Let's find out what we have in common. And I gathered all 6 of us in my teeny tiny dorm room, and what became my life's work began that day. And it asked 100 questions, and sure enough found out that each of us had some sort of strained or non-existent, abusive, neglectful relationship with our fathers.
Wow.
And a light bulb went off for me big time. It's like, there's something here. And I started writing in search of my father in that moment, and traced back my own history to remember that when my father left our family when I was 13, what started out as why did he go very quickly became why wasn't I good enough for him to stay.
Oh, hon. Wow. Yeah, that is a journey, isn't it? That's a journey. And it's releasing the responsibility. Wow, that's fantastic. And so you have healed and come to terms with this and let it go.
I have. I no longer date men who I have to save or help or change. That's not my work.
And isn't that funny? And that's exactly what happens. You felt responsible for your dad leaving, obviously, because otherwise there'd be nothing to work through. And so you have to help every other man achieve something wonderful while you're there. It makes total sense. If you really...
Yes. To quote the ever-brilliant Dr. Brene Brown, I started hustling for my worthiness.
Ah, hustle for your worthiness. Yeah. Oh, gosh, not cool. And they're looking for a free therapist. So then when you started to get the clarity that it really wasn't your fault that anything had happened like that, and it's just the circumstance, and you started working on yourself, then all of a sudden, what did you find? What are the rewards of this?
Well, I stopped confusing compassion with love, and kept ministry and charity work out of my love life. So I had a lot more energy. I had all this bandwidth that was being taken up by busying myself with other people. And what I found was that, yes, I did have some work to do with Sade, but now I had the time and space to do it. Instead of picking somebody who was more broken than myself to focus on, that made it easier to avoid my own work.
And that's what we love to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It was easier to avoid that. I started looking at the ways I was trying to reconcile the storylines of my childhood and get it right this time, figure out how to here, let's start from the top. You be dad and I'll be me, and let's start this over again. And this time, I'll figure out how to, be lovable enough for you to stay.
Oh, and that's perfect. I mean, that's the perfect way to say that.
Stay close.
Yeah. And it is that kind of scenario. That's what we do to ourselves. And yet that is not, that's not what's needed. But gosh, that was a perfect way you pictured it. So now you deal with people as people.
Yeah. All of us are building our adult lives on the blueprint of our childhood, right? So when we get clarity about that, we get to decide, hey, actually, I want a little more love, joy, and peace and emotional availability than that, even though there may have been some really good things that we want to hold on to.
Yes.
We are allowed.
Yes.
The pieces that we don't find helpful for us anymore. Then we can stop sabotaging our brilliant futures by picking people to replay the past with. We can release those folks.
And we can release them, and we can release everything else. So if people want to learn about your new workshop, or they want to just grow in this way, how can they get hold of you?
Well, you can type my name into Google. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and on my website as well. So that's ShadeASHANI, and you'll find lots of great stuff to interact with: workshops, videos, my email list.
I love the journey you are on. I love where you're taking other women. It has been a joy to have you on the show, and such enlightening and clarity for so many people. I so appreciate it. And everybody should check it out. It's a wonderful way for you to start living in a fabulous light instead of the same mistakes over and over. And also, guys, it's, when you're carrying around so much baggage, it's hard to get into a state of creating and of being in the creative if you're holding on to all this stuff that I'm not worthy, or it's my fault my dad left, or why did he abuse me? You got to do the work. You have to do the work. And when you do the work, it can be hard, but I'll tell you what, it's also extremely rewarding. As always, stay connected to yourself, stay connected to others, and always stay connected to Source God.
This has been 30-Minute Moments featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now at wowo.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.